Welcome back, Purposeful family. Welcome to another episode of the Pretty Purposeful Podcast. I'm your host, Angee Mabry.
I'm your co-host, Candace.
Gosh, can you believe it, girl? We are at episode 9 already. Where does the time go?
It's flying by.
I know. This season is just like, gosh, wow. We actually have, 3 more episodes to go?
We do. We do. And then it's going to be 2025.
2025. Oh my goodness. So much more to come. We're just excited. We were just talking about this, how this season we just were, seeing how we progressed and how we've enhanced and learning. It's a continuous learning process. Podcasting, it's been an amazing journey so far. What about you, Candace?
Oh, it's been absolutely great. When I say, so first of all, now we're talking about the experience podcasting, right?
Yeah, just the evolution of our podcast, how it's just evolved.
It's for one, it has really taught me about process improvement, time management, and the whole concept of finishing what you start and discipline. So I am grateful to be able to have had the opportunity to partner with you, Angee.
Girl, no, I love that. And you're so right. I everything that you just mentioned, those are just essential. Anybody that's thinking about doing a podcast, if you don't already have those skills, this is definitely a process that will help you develop those skills. They're required, and Candace and I, we have, regular jobs, lives outside of, the podcast, and partnership and communication is very important as well, but time management. But yeah, we definitely, like I was saying the other day, we've been streamlining processes, and I'm loving creating this blueprint. There's probably someone else out there who has mastered it. But what I love about it is that we're creating this. We're creating this as, what works for us. What works for us may not work for another team, right? But I love that we both contribute to making it what it is, and it works.
That's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, you guys. So, yeah, today's episode, we are going to be talking about customer service. Whew. I lost art. Oh my goodness. So I have a background in customer service. For those of you who don't know, I'm actually a contact center manager in healthcare, but my whole career has pretty much been in customer service. So I'm very passionate about this topic, and we're looking forward to getting into this. We actually have a very special guest with us today. But before we dive into this topic, I do want to see what you've been up to, Candace. What's been going on with you?
So, one thing that I will say, Angee, you always push me to step out of my comfort zone. So I did that. And when I was in Washington, D.C., that area, I decided to go on a night tour. Wow. I was not in the mood to go, but I forced myself to go. And I'm happy I did, because it was a blast.
Did you get footage?
I did. Let me show you. We're about to go see the Lincoln Memorial. Let's go.
Oh my goodness, Candace, girl, that looks so fun. And I mean, just the weather. I mean, it just looked like, girl, you got me ready to go.
It was so fun. And it was like only maybe 4 or 5 of us that joined the night tour. So it was pretty intimate. And it was a very diverse group of us. Like, I want to say, yeah, we were all looking different. Okay.
Was it
and
on
it was
foot?
Just,
Was it on foot, or did you were you in a vehicle?
In a vehicle. It was a van. And he drove us around. And then he was like, okay, y'all got 10 minutes to take your pictures. Come back at this time.
Wow. Oh, that is so cool. Oh my goodness. Now I'm so glad you got a chance to get out, because I know, you guys know Candace travels all the time. And, this one thing, when you do that all the time for work, it just can be so monotonous. So I'm glad that you got a chance to get out, got some fresh air, and got to take in the beautiful views of DC. Wow. I haven't been to DC since, the last time I've been to DC was the Million Man March in 2015.
Oh.
That's the last time I've been to DC. Yep.
So, and I will say they are, girl, it might look a little different if you go back, because they are still, I mean, that was my first time. I really want to say that was my first time being there and actually seeing the buildings and going and touching the Lincoln Memorial site. They have a lot of construction going on. Mm-hmm. So they're even expanding the Abraham Lincoln Memorial site. It was like a sign that said, more to come in 2026. And I couldn't even see, really, I could see a little bit of the White House, but they even have some more construction going on. So if you were to go back, you would be like, okay, this wasn't here. Girl, they're always doing construction over there, it seems like. Or will be.
Yeah. And, the time before that, the last time I was there before the Million Man March was actually for President Obama's inauguration, and that was in 2009. So I'm not in DC often, but that area right there, that central area, that's usually where I am when I do go. So, yes. But I'm glad you had a great time, girl.
It was good. Yes. So tell us, what have you been up to? What's been going on in your world?
Oh, well, working. Other than that, getting floors done. So a lot of moving things around. I'm just getting my house back in order. But yeah, yes. So there's a little bit of that process right here. Back. Okay, girl. Yeah, I could not wait to get the floors done. I was talking about moving, and that was like the one thing that got me to really decide to stay here, is that they were willing to upgrade my floors for me. And I'm just like, thank you.
A huge blessing. There's something about changing the floors that makes it look like a whole new place.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for me personally, I don't mind carpet. I'll say that because I make a lot of noise. So for me, it's, insulation. It kind of diffuses the noise. Right. So we'll see if I get any complaints from my neighbors.
Girl.
But that's what I've been up to, girl. Not too much happening. Just, preparing for the holidays and everything. So yeah.
That's so good, Angee.
Girl, I can't believe the holidays are right around the corner.
Please don't remind me, because I'm like, I'm not ready.
I know, girl. I know. I'm like, I've been debating, like, do I want to go back home for the holidays? I haven't made up my mind yet, but my Kayla's coming home. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, my baby will be home.
Oh.
Yep. All right. Well, at this time, we are going to go ahead and dive into our topic. Again, our topic today is customer service, a lost art. And as I mentioned before, we have a special guest. Candace, do you want to do the honors of introducing our next guest?
I would love to. I have the absolute pleasure of introducing our special guest today, none other than my amazing sister, Alexis Mabry. At just 23 years old, Alexis has already made significant strides in her professional journey. Her work ethic was evident from an early age as she entered the workforce at 15, demonstrating a drive for independence and growth. Alexis currently excels in the field of customer service. Her dedication and exceptional performance recently earned her the Employee of the Month, a testament to her outstanding work ethic and positive impact on both her colleagues and customers. Growing up, Alexis was deeply involved in our local church. What sets Alexis apart is her genuine passion for serving others. She views her role not just as a job, but as a calling. Every interaction and every problem solved is a step towards her goal of making a positive difference in this world, in the world. She's a purpose-driven professional and an inspiring young adult making her mark on the world. Please join me in welcoming Alexis Mabry.
Woo! Drop her in, girl. Hey, Alexis.
Hello, ladies.
Welcome to the Pretty Purposeful Podcast.
Thank you all for having me. I am so excited to be here on Pretty Purposeful Podcast.
Oh my goodness. We are just, we're excited that you're here to lend us your expertise. We understand you work in customer service, so we really are looking forward to hearing your perspective today. So I know we have a lot to get into, but really quickly, just tell us, how long have you worked in customer service?
I would say I started when I was 15 and I'm 23 now. So you do the math.
Yes. I mean, hey, that's probably one of your first jobs then, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. And I love how when Candace introduced you, she mentioned that you see it as a calling. And I love that because I don't think that, customer service is not for everybody. I do think that you have to have servanthood. So that is awesome that you are aligned, with something that you're passionate about. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this topic. And first thing we're going to talk about in terms of customer service. Face-to-face customer service. I don't know. I think overall customer service, the quality has gone down. I don't know about you all, but I just feel that, I don't know. It just seems like the quality has significantly declined, and everything from face-to-face and over the phone. But we're gonna start off by talking about face-to-face. And some of the examples are like when you go to a restaurant or when you're shopping or even when you're traveling. Just the importance of, having courtesy, just face-to-face interactions nowadays. It just seems like people are just distracted. They're just not giving the amount of attention that is required when don't get me wrong, there's always going to be the exception. And thank goodness for those individuals who truly, like Alexis, are passionate about service. Mm-hmm. But all too often, you're going to go in Walmart. Sorry, Walmart. Sorry, not sorry. But you have those experiences and you're just like, is somebody going to help me? Or you get help and it's just not, it's very, lackluster. So what are you all's thoughts? Have you guys experienced any recent situations or have any thoughts on why the service quality of service has gone down?
Well, me and my sister Candace, we were actually recently talking about this, having this discussion about when I would go into a quick clinic. I know that it's called quick clinic, but you still want to, have the customer service to actually, you want the customer or the client to feel that they are cared for, you know, that you care about their well-being. Well, in the case where I visited a quick clinic, and it's just like they're ready to just write down prescriptions. You know, they ask you what's going on, you tell them, and you know, I noticed that the the worker is just writing down. She's listing prescriptions, not really caring. They're just quick to write down prescriptions, and I did not feel cared for. What's really going on? Or you may want to, you know, they weren't giving actual suggestions, not asking a lot of questions. They asked the simple questions: when did you start feeling this way? Or what exactly are you feeling? That's basic to me. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't just be straight to writing down prescriptions, because I believe that there could be something deeper going on.
Wow. And we just talked about this, Candace, in one of our recent episodes. We were talking about healthcare in general, especially as it relates to marginalized populations. And what you just described, there could be another layer to that, right? Mm-hmm. And that's unfortunate, but we often see that. And that's why it is so important for us to advocate. If you know, I call that a cookie cutter approach. And because we, you know, our health is not the same as someone of a different, you know, background, right? So they definitely should be asking more specific questions. And so, yeah, that's a great example. And I'm glad you touched on healthcare, because we're going to definitely dive into healthcare, because I work in healthcare. So I'm extremely passionate about that. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. What about you, Candace? Have you had any face-to-face customer service experiences that weren't so good?
Absolutely. Mainly in a restaurant type of environment where it's like, and I don't care if you show up 10 minutes before the restaurant is closed, the way that you treated the customer 3 hours before the restaurant closes, and the person that comes in 5 minutes before the restaurant closes deserves the same amount of genuine customer service, right? That exceptional service, all that stuff matters, y'all. It matters. And I, with me traveling so much, there have been times where I would be that person that walks up in that restaurant 10 minutes before they close. And I have had really great servers where I could see it didn't affect them. And I have seen body language that shows that, why she just walk up in here? And yeah. So I have definitely, yes, Angee, definitely experienced the negative and the positive.
And you see, and the flip side of it all, see, the person that's working there is probably just, you know, they're thinking about getting off of work. But like you just explained, you probably had just been traveling, you hungry, you need to eat before you lay it down. And you literally, like, that experience could be so meaningful for you if they handled it correctly. You never know. You might go online and tell people, you know, because it's so significant. Like I know that feeling. So yeah, those moments are critical. And I don't think that when they're in that moment, they're not really thinking about the customer. The attention to detail is missing. I want to share, I know, Alexis, you shared healthcare. Candace, you shared like your experience with the restaurant hospitality. Speaking of that, I had one time I was traveling to Pittsburgh, and I checked into a hotel, and the lady at the front desk, she, you know, asked me for my ID. I give her my ID, and she goes, "How you get this last name?" Excuse me? I'm just trying to check in. I'm not here to give you my background. And, you know, again, there's layers to that. To me, that was discriminatory. And I most definitely did ask to speak to our manager. Candace, you know, I tell you all the time about the experiences I have because of my last name and being mixed. And I'm tired of explaining. And I'm just trying to check in. I don't want to have to give you my whole background and life story. So I did request to speak to a manager, and I did get my nights comped while we were there, because it was going to escalate, because that's just inappropriate. But that's an example of where it's like people don't separate their personal, feelings or views. And they don't understand when you walk in the door, you're representing that company.
Right.
And that experience, that was a horrible customer service experience for me. So, yeah. But I don't know. Like I was saying, I kind of feel that it's gone down, and I could easily blame it on Trump because, I want to blame Trump for everything. I just do. I'm sorry. I just do. Y'all call me wrong, but I have noticed a decline in kindness and humanity since his first presidency. And again, I could be being overly dramatic, but there has been a significant shift. And that's when you have people in leadership roles, people who are in leadership, they influence people. They have influence over those who they are, leading. And that's just when I noticed it. I could just be a little bit biased. It could just be, but that's what I noticed. And I don't know. What do you guys think? What is the time frame or time range? What do y'all think? I guess what's the length of time that it's been since you've noticed the decline in quality in service? Because it hasn't always been this way. I think it's just been gradual.
Yeah.
Since the pandemic for me.
Oh, it really got worse. Oof.
I can agree. Me personally, I have never had to, ask to speak to someone's manager, but it seems like I've had to do that frequently, recently, because I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the type of customer service I was getting. I couldn't believe it. It's traumatizing as well because you're in disbelief. Like, I can't believe how the person is talking to me. You could take it light, but I was calling a restaurant about an issue that I had with an order, and I spoke to a manager, someone that you would put up in the position to help you assist, be nice, kind. And the first thing that he told me, I placed an order through DoorDash delivery, and the delivery driver gave the phone to the manager because he wasn't sure how to assist. So the first thing the manager said was, "Hello." He introduced himself, I think, which is another sad part. You should want to introduce yourself as a manager, say, "Hello, this is, such and such. How can I assist you today?" No, instead, the first thing he said, "Yes, how can I help you? I don't understand why we're on the phone right now."
Wow.
A manager. "I don't understand why we are on the phone right now." I said, "Wow." I was in disbelief. I didn't even have any words to say. I was speechless.
Like, what was the resolution from that?
I stayed calm. I told him what I need assistance with, and he's still being unhelpful. He's still saying the same thing from when he first got on the phone call. Okay, well, it's here, but I still don't understand why we're on the phone. From that point, I said, "Okay, thank you so much for your help," and we got off the phone. But with saying that, it goes back to what I mentioned earlier. It feels like I am not being cared for. When you're working in any type of customer service, they have this saying, you want to put the customer first. You do want to show that you care.
Right.
You do want to show that you care. And going back to what Candace said earlier, when she, went out on a trip and she was one of the people to walk in, when the restaurant was about to close. With that, you can also tell by body language and tone. That speaks loud. And when I can notice someone's body language, I'm like, yeah, I can already see how this is going to go. But I'm going to try to do my part and stay kind because, you never know what somebody else is going through. But that's another thing. I'm almost done, but it's like, you never know what somebody else is going through. But if you're working in customer service, you want to keep that at home. Yeah. You want to keep that at home because it's going to rub off. It's going to rub off. So, do you want to continue to have a bad day, before you clocked into work, or I kind of got off topic. But I had to share that. But yeah, I felt, since, like you said, when Trump became president, it's been like I've never had to ask to speak with someone's manager as much as I have before. Now, like.
Let me ask you, do you guys think that, and again, I don't want to say I'm biased, but I'm very observant. Mm-hmm. Do you guys think generations, there's something that has to do with generations? I mean, I'm a millennial, and I do notice, I'm, as a leader in customer service, I do have to take into consideration that I am now a people leader of Gen Z. And that's different than the millennials and Gen X, right? And I actually had to do some research on what to expect, because most generations are about a decade or so long, right? Yes. So my daughter is part of Gen Z, but she's not in the working class age, right? So I can't put her in the same category as someone who might be on my team, because they have more lived experience and they should be more mature, right?
Yep.
But what do you guys feel about the impact of differences in generations?
I see a difference, and I think I blame social media. I blame TikTok. I blame this. Distractions. I blame this. We're in a culture of like, scroll, next, right? TikTok specifically, I feel like, let me give you an example. I'm not considered Gen Z. I think I'm a millennial girl. I don't know, 31. I don't know what millennials.
You're definitely millennial. You're on the other end of the spectrum. I'm at the cusp of Gen X. You're at the cusp of Gen Z. That's a great place to be, because you have the best of both
worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say this as an example. I tend to notice that when I'm watching a movie, which I rarely do, but when I have tried to watch movies, I have become impatient. And I think this has tied into why the customer service is why it is, and it's scary. Let me tell you why it's scary. Because if I'm losing patience watching a movie, because I could go on TikTok and just be like, oh, I don't want to see it, don't want to see it, don't want to see it, don't want to see it. Just imagine like being a nurse in a senior facility and your patience is thin. That is scary.
The attention span.
Your attention span, your patience span, that is scary. When you think about, I guess, the long-term spectrum, or how it can like actually affect different industries and stuff like that. But yeah, that's scary.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, I don't want to be judgmental, but we have to be realistic about how the younger generation, how they were brought up on technology, how they have a shorter attention span, because they have had the ease of access of technology, right? Cuts out a lot of time. They don't have the patience that some of us in the older generations have. And these are things that we just have to be cognizant of. It's not to say it's a bad thing. It's just to say that those of us who are in leadership positions, and you don't even have to be in an older generation, but if you could be a Gen Z leader, but if you're a Gen Z leader, it is up to you to be cognizant and aware and approach your workforce with that information and with strategies and solutions that are going to be effective for that generation. You don't want to ignore it. It is absolutely impactful. Like it absolutely has impacted the way that service is today. Not to say that it's a complete, blame, but it's part of the issue that we're experiencing.
Yeah. So I got to mention this real quick. I was listening to, and it kind of adds to what Alexis was saying when she was talking about being kind and how the little things matter. Listening to another podcast where he was talking about karma. Do y'all believe in karma? How do y'all feel about it? Like,
you reap what you sow.
You reap what you sow.
Yeah.
So this expert on the podcast was saying how he believes karma exists to the extent that when you do something nice or kind to somebody, no matter how big or how small it is, they will walk away feeling a little bit better. Therefore, it becomes a domino effect. And I believe Alexis touched on this. Just imagine just the small, you give somebody a compliment, a genuine compliment. They feel a little bit better about themselves. They go to work and they actually treat somebody a little bit better. It's a domino effect.
Yeah.
So when you said you noticed the difference when Trump was in office, and just imagine, of course, they're highlighting negative things that he's saying. Of course, they're putting the spotlight on some of
They normalized it.
They normalized it. And so we're seeing it. Our younger community is seeing it on the daily.
Yeah. And in during the pandemic, he was still the president. And I will say, even when the Biden administration came in, they had to clean up a lot of that. And I have to say, their presence, just even, Kamala being the first Black female, just being the first female vice president, that historical moment was like, oh, like we needed that. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh gosh, that's hope. That gives us hope. And then Biden, of course, being, just him choosing her, let us know, okay, we are now on the path of normalcy again. We are back on the path of normalcy, right? And so that's why this upcoming election is so important. Here I go on my voting kick. By the time this episode airs, God willing, Kamala Harris will have been named the first female president in the United States. But we so need to continue that to get back to a level of normalcy and humanity. Because with the technology that we're using, it definitely takes away a lot of the emotional aspect. But we just have to, us as human beings, we do ourselves a disservice when we take the importance off of this topic, right? You don't have to be a customer service, you don't have to work in the field, right? But we all need customer service. We're all impacted by it. And we all want to give suggestions and we want to complain and say how things can be better. But when we're put in that position, do we actually contribute to being better, or do we contribute to the problem? So this topic, very good topic.
Very good.
So I want to kind of segue here and talk about over the phone customer service, because we talked about in person. And I'll say this, anytime I've ever interviewed a person and they come from the face-to-face customer service, I always say they're going to do excellent in phone customer service. Why? Because if you can deal with someone cussing you out in person, you're going to be just fine over the phone. You're going to be just fine, right? So let's talk about it. So, Alexis, you currently are a customer service phone rep. Some of the things, let's talk about your day-to-day. Would you say, on average, what percentage of your calls that you have are upset, angry people, on average?
On average, I would say 80%.
Wow.
80%.
Wow.
Being hired on into my job, I wasn't expecting, I didn't know what to expect actually, but I became, more in a wow, like whoa, just continue to work. I'm like, I can't believe it, but I have to know how to keep my composure when I talk to them, my professionalism, and because it can get tough, and we will discuss that later on in this, video. But about 80%.
80%.
So, in your role, do you handle multiple type of calls, or are there just one set of type of calls that you handle?
It could be multiple, multiple type of calls. But most of the time it's just most of the time it's one type of, the reason why they call, but multiple types.
Are there a lot of, like you said, 80%? Are they mostly like, of the 80%, are they mostly complaints? People calling to complain? Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And that can take a toll on your mental health in different ways, especially when the clients or the customers start to share kind words. And hopefully you know what I mean by kind words. And of course, me wanting to stay professional and not taking it personal, I will not dare to share those kind words back. I won't do that because I'm here. I'm here to assist you.
That's right.
It's like a funny moment. I want to be on the phone most of the time and say, "Can you please just let me assist you?" But yeah.
So, Candace, what about you? Like, let's talk about experiences. So, as we know, of course, Alexis is one of the exceptions. She's one of the ones that are exceptional. She's providing that good service that we want, but that's not always the case. Have you had any recent experiences with over the phone customer service that wasn't good?
That wasn't good. Recent?
Or ever. It doesn't even have to be recent, but just like that would make you feel like, you know what? This is completely unacceptable. This is not right.
I do. And it's, oh my gosh, it like slipped my memory, but I do remember I was on the phone. I forgot what it was for, but I want to say they seemed very dismissive, just like how Alexis was describing the quick clinic. I'm trying to recall where was I? I forgot. But recent, I think that was a minute ago. Because it's like when you try to call, for example, I know not too many people do it, but let's say it's around the Thanksgiving holiday and you want to see if Walmart is selling a certain type of hen or turkey. You call, you get transferred over to the electronics section. You go. And sometimes these people just don't be very happy to send you to the right people and want to thank you. So, and I can't think of anything too recent, but I feel like there was a situation that occurred probably a couple of months ago where somebody was very dismissive, but I don't remember where I was.
I mean, that's fine. But I wanted to ask you because, as you know, every company has customer service, right? Yep. So things that we truly need, like that we have to contact these companies for, like when it comes to our utilities, when it comes to banking, when it comes to healthcare, health insurance, like whether you want to talk to someone or not, you could be the most tech savvy person. You could use online portals all day long, but if that portal ain't working, you're going to have to pick up the phone and talk to someone. And right. And so when we think about these, serious situations that can arise where you have to contact customer service, things that are impacting people like utility shutoffs, right? You got people who are dealing with financial hardships in this economy. They're having to call customer service to explain their situation or figure out how they're going to be able to work out a payment arrangement, keep their lights on, keep their water on, maybe calling the bank because maybe a check is going to bounce, right? Their emotions are already running high when they call in. Right. So customer service, it's not an easy job and it's not for everyone. But I will say as a customer service leader, what I have noticed is that, and I say this all the time, this is not to discount or frown upon the industry of customer service. But I'm just going to say it is like a virtual warehouse. It reminds me of like the Amazons, you know, of the world, where you've got a huge workforce of people who are laborers who require like minimal skill set, right?
Yeah.
But customer service, it really requires a lot of skill. Everybody cannot do it. And they train you on specific, you know, you may be specializing in a certain department, but on top of that, you've got to have the people skills. You have to have, first of all, you have to be in the right state of mind. You have to have your mental health in check. And I'll say this, as a leader, my team, they know we talk about mental health a couple times a week in our huddles. I'm like, how y'all doing? Yeah. There's a feature in Microsoft Teams where you can check in. You can get like, you know me being a techie, right? Mm-hmm. I have this automated thing that checks in with my team every other day and asks them, how you doing?
Wow.
And if I get a response back from someone and they're not doing okay, like it literally asks them, you know, how did you use your break today? Did you use your break for personal, or did you, you know, they don't have to delve exactly. It has like kind of like already populated answers. So it's like real general, but there is a spot where I ask them like, are you, you know, just barely making it today? Or are you having a good day? You know, and if I get a response back from someone and they're just not having a good day, then I will stop what I'm doing. I will find a positive thing to say to them, to let them know that I see them, I hear them, and it is okay. You need to take a moment off the phone. You need a woosa moment. Okay, after this call, I'm gonna need you to go get yourself something to drink, take a breather, and come on back. Okay. And I want to do that. I want to be able to do that because I want them to know that like how they're feeling matters. They can't do their job without being fully present. So that's just me. That's just me as a leader. That's yeah. So as you guys can see, I love my job. I love what I do. And I know that I'm aligned in the right role. Do I want to do this forever? No. But while I'm in it, I do take it very serious, and I do want to make meaningful impact while I'm there. And so my encouragement to anyone out there who is considering a leadership role in customer service, or anyone who's considered getting into customer service, it's not an easy job. And thankfully, a lot of employers are starting to pay decent. You know, I'm talking some of these jobs are starting at like 22 and up per hour. So, yeah.
I wanted to add something here, and then of course we can move forward. It's definitely when Candace, you know, was mentioning how, you know, you're being transferred, you know, during the holiday, when you're calling the store to see if they have something that you're being transferred. In my role, and I'm pretty sure, you know, other customer service representative roles, people are being transferred to your department most of the time. And I've had a lot of calls to where they come on the phone ready to just go at you because they're already irritated because they're constantly being transferred, not knowing how they're actually going to get their issue resolved. So in that moment, when I realized that they're up there, when they're up there, I cannot go up there with them because that will turn the call just downhill. So I've had an experience to where it was up there at first, you know, and I'm, you know, showing, you know, empathy. I'm saying I do understand your frustration, which is very important to show the customer or to tell the customer that you do understand their frustration. And, you know, as I'm trying to assist, I can tell that the customer is coming back down. They're coming back down. And at the end of the call, you know, at the beginning of the call, they say they share their kind words, you know, about me. And I'm just like, okay, that's awesome. And then by the end of the call, what warms my heart truly, they would always say, ma'am, at the beginning of the call, I know that I gave you a very hard time, but you have helped me so much. I appreciate it. I was being transferred around, and that really irritated me. I just needed assistance, and you have helped me. So I really appreciate it. And again, I do apologize for how I was coming at you at the beginning of the call. And that I really appreciate customers who are, that transparent, because they understand that they was probably, not in the best
Projecting.
mood, but they're able to admit it. And, but I say that as well because your tone matters as well. As a customer service representative, you don't want to match their tone, because that could keep the call, where it's at, which is bad, or it can just bring it down even more. Right. So as a customer service representative, you always want to try to keep a positive attitude, which is very hard, but it's very hard. But yeah, a call can go from down here to up here.
I'm so glad you shared that example, because that is something that I always try to speak to, because I feel like their members, customers, when they call in, they're really projecting the feeling that they're feeling, but it's not towards you as an individual. And so if customer service representatives can just kind of separate themselves and understand that that's not directed towards them personally, and allow that person, that human being on the other end of the line, to just be human. Allow them to just be human. And when they're done, say, are you done? Would it be okay if I go ahead and continue? And if they say, yes, I'm done, just as a courtesy, because you don't want to cut them off, and say, and acknowledge what they said. Well, I'm very sorry that you're going through whatever it is they're going through. Don't just say I'm going through that. No, be very specific. I'm sorry that you had to wait on hold, or I'm sorry you've had to call in so many times. Let me see what I can do to help you out so you don't have to, keep calling in, and the fact that they came back and apologized at the end of the call, Alexis, like a lot of times that's the human part of them. Like at the end of that call, once they realize this person really cares, this person really wants to help me, let me just let them know that I do have a heart. I'm not a horrible, mean person. And that's important to a lot of people before they get off that call, because they don't want to, there's a saying, hurt people, right? Yeah. And that hurt that they're feeling is temporary, and they know that, but they don't know how that hurt that they projected onto you, they don't know how that's going to leave you. So some people, if they attack you verbally, and, unfortunately, if they're not emotionally intelligent enough, they will attack you verbally and not care how that impacts you. But if a customer, allows you to do your job and you do it well, and they come back and they want to apologize, well, that a lot of times is them they don't want to leave you hurting, because they're now over whatever was causing their hurt. You've resolved it. They're not hurting anymore. And that's just the human thing to do, the kind thing to do. So thank you for sharing that.
Okay. So Alexis, considering that you are successful in your role, what advice would you give to other customer service reps who may feel burnt out or emotionally drained by difficult calls?
Well, some advice that I would give, it's simple, but it means a lot. Take that deep breath. Take that deep breath before you clock in, while you're clocked in, after you clock out. Relax, because when thinking about myself, when I deal with irate customers, my heart starts going fast. My heart starts going fast. So I have to remind myself, they're just the customers, just frustrated. They're frustrated. But let's calm down and know that you are here to assist them to the best of your ability. And of course, there will be some customers who may feel as if you're not assisting them, but you're still going to want to try to do your best. It goes back to doing the best that you can do, the best that you know that you can do. It's like, I could bring in examples. I know that most customer service roles, you're reading off of a script. When I read off my scripts, I try not to make it seem so robotic. But I still receive customers who are like, you don't have to read off that script to me. I don't care. Or, they're just already coming in with that attitude. That's when I take a deep breath, because I know how this call may go with this customer. So take deep breaths. You're going to need a lot of those. Drinking some tea, some chamomile tea, some just to relax and to not take it personal, being repetitive, but it's literally not taking it personal. Know that they are possibly doing something with their personal life. And this situation, the situation that they're having is just adding on into their frustration. And most definitely talk to others, especially your coaches, your managers, supervisors. Ask them for advice. Sometimes it may seem as if they're going to tell you something that is trying to deter you, but you cannot let it. Their advice is there to, help you. So take it, I can't think of the correct term right now, but you want to use that. It's going to help you, and, just relax. I don't know what your religion is or anything, but pray about it. Pray on it. I say a quick prayer before I clock in, I say a quick prayer before I clock in. It does not have to be a 20-minute prayer, everybody. Just Heavenly Father, please help me today. Help the customers.
Whatever they're going to. Sorry to interrupt you, Alexis, but you started listening to gospel music?
No, I was saying that, I just say a quick prayer. And sometimes I will start the day off with listening to gospel music. Because it puts me in that spirit that everything is going to be okay. You have to tell yourself that today is going to be a good day. You have to have that in your head. Today is going to be a good day. Whatever somebody says to you, today is going to be a good day. I could literally spend the whole day sharing stories because I just remember, I remember them. Some customers have really hurt my feelings. That's because I took it personal. I've had, and you can remember it because of how it made you feel, of how, I remember a customer telling me that your job is so miserable. How do you tell me that? How do you tell me that my job is miserable? How do you, and even when customers say that I was unhelpful, that hurts because I literally did the best that I could to help you. And I really wanted to help you.
But that's, look, the coach is about to come out. Look, the coach.
So at the end of the day, you need to know your worth. Know that you are working in your position because you know that you want to help the customer. There could be some other people who are just working their job for the money, of course. Okay, that's fine. But with me, when I'm working my job, I'm actually there to assist someone. I want to know that I have helped someone in some, in any form, the best of my ability to help them. So there will be customers that will share a lot of kind words that can be discouraging. But at the end of the day, you have to stay encouraged. Mm-hmm. And you have to take those deep breaths. Because I'm running out of words, y'all, but it goes back to the same thing. Know your worth, relax, take time for you.
Everything that you're saying, I just want to say, like, everything that you're saying, Alexis, it all goes back to mental health. Mm-hmm. It all goes back to the mental state. And we're going to actually talk about that. Just the impact to the customer who's calling in, their mind state when they're dealing with poor customer service representatives. But of course, you're speaking from the perspective of a customer service representative who's dealing with rude customers, right? Mm-hmm. And that impacts you all. So it's like, we're all humans, no matter what side of the phone you're on. We all have a mental health. We have a mental state that we're in at the time that the interaction is happening. And either person doesn't know the state of the other person, right, in that moment. But you made a great point when you said you start your day out, you pray, you set an intention that you're going to have a good day. And that's like putting your armor on. And when they come with them kind words, they just bounce off of you. They just, Candace, I'm not on the phone, but I have had interactions at work that I have, I've done the Matrix on.
Okay.
I am covered. Okay. I am fully covered. And I can't absorb that. I have things to do. I have other people that need me. I can't let you take me off my path. I can't. Yeah, I got too much to do. So yeah, as long as you're setting that intention, that is so powerful. And whether a person is spiritual or belief or not, we all have an obligation to make sure that we're maintaining our mental health. And so I just want to encourage anyone out there who is in an organization that offers employee assistance programs, take advantage of it. They typically do offer a few, counseling sessions or therapy sessions, to get you started, until you do find a permanent, solution or therapy or therapist. But that's important. Another thing I would say from a managerial perspective, I always encourage my team to take their time off. Use your PTO. When it's starting to get to be too much, you have paid time. Take it, use it, plan. When you feel yourself getting burnt out, take the day. You have it. That's so we're going to go ahead and talk about the psychological effect to the customer, because when you have people who are not in the right state of mind on the other end of the call and they're being rude and they're not helpful, it can be more damaging to our society, because like Candace mentioned earlier, is a ripple effect. There's a ripple effect. So let's talk about that. So let's say, as I was talking about earlier, a person calls into a utility company. They're already dealing with, a financial hardship. Maybe it's a cancer patient calling into their health insurance, asking questions. And the person on the phone doesn't even acknowledge that they're dealing with a chronic illness, or the person on the phone is not even acknowledging this person's lights is going to be cut off and they have a newborn. Okay. Things like that. That can definitely be traumatizing for someone. And it can actually cause a person to get off the phone and be in a more, a worse state of mind than they were in before they called. So the question came up as I was, as we were preparing for this episode, can customers sue companies for their mental state, for emotional distress? So I did a little bit of research, and I'm going to share some statistics about the psychological impact of poor customer service. And then we're going to get into whether or not consumers can actually sue companies. So a couple facts here. So according to Ruby Newell's Legner's Understanding Customers, it takes 12 positive customer experiences to make up for one negative experience.
Wow.
12. Some companies don't get that chance to make that up. They lose that customer. They gone. Another statistic, after more than one bad experience, around 80% of consumers say that they would rather do business with a competitor. And that's according to Zendesk. Another one, 70% of customers report that technology makes it simple to take their business to a competitor if needed. So because we have now all this technology, it's a lot easier for somebody to just go to a new company same day. Goodbye, I'm out. Whereas back in the day, they probably had to call around. They probably had to research. Ask around. What's a good company to go to? Now they can go online and Google what's a good company to go to. And make that move, make that call. Another statistic, 94% of American customers will recommend a company whose service they rate as very good. 94%. So that is, word of mouth is everything.
It is.
That's better than a paid promotion. Come on now, because paid promotion, you could be lying through, come on now, if Trump could do it, Lil,
girl.
Y'all gotta forgive me. I'm on my, but yeah. So yeah, but word of mouth is everything. And last statistic, a study has shown that more than 76% of all consumers, 76%, y'all, prefer the traditional medium of phone calls to reach customer support. 76%.
See, and I don't know if y'all noticed, but Uber Eats, I feel like they make it difficult for you to contact somebody. Something.
Listen, it's sad. Yeah. And let's not even talk the rideshare customer service. That's nasty work right there. That will make somebody have a nervous breakdown. Trying to get assistance. Well, let me not get started because I have had some poor customer service experiences with particular rideshare service. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so the question then becomes, can you sue a company if they cause you distress? And the answer is this. A plaintiff may recover compensatory damages under an act called the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. And it says the Affordable Care Act. Now, this is related to if a person is discriminated or treated unfairly because of if they have a disability. So that means that you would have already had to have like an existing mental health condition, which I don't have the statistic on how many Americans do, but a lot of Americans already suffer from things like depression, anxiety, PTSD, ADHD, OCD, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. I can go on and on, autism, right? These are things that are on record in their mental health record. I mean, in their medical records, verifiable. And they're calling in just as a regular customer, just trying to get assistance. And if they just say that they have a disability, if they choose to disclose that in that conversation, because the service that they're receiving is exacerbating that condition, the company could be liable. It says here, the Supreme Court has never articulated whether such compensatory damages includes damages for emotional distress. So you see the difference. There's the ADA, which protects Americans who have a disability. And I'm going to talk about the definition of a disability shortly here. But just a person who does not have a disability who wants to just sue a company for emotional distress, there currently is not a law. Did y'all hear me?
Yes.
I told you about that. The Heritage Foundation, the one that's behind the Project 2025, their website had an article that was talking about how they were not in support of there being a law that protected consumers from emotional distress. They did not want consumers to be able to file lawsuits against companies because emotional distress could be subjective.
Yeah, but that's dangerous.
But let's be clear. If a person already has a mental health condition, now that's a whole different ball game. So let's talk about it really quickly. The definition. Under federal regulation, an individual with a disability is defined as a person who has a physical or a mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activity. This includes people who have a record of an impairment, even if they do not currently have a disability. So you could have been diagnosed with depression last year or 2 years ago. But if you call that company and that person on the phone triggers you and now you back depressed, it's on record that you were already depressed and now you're depressed again. Hello.
Wow.
The company can be held liable. This is why customer service is so important, because it has a lasting impact on our society. It's a ripple effect. That person gets off the phone and they might take their life. Their family's going to sue you because who was they talking to before they took their life? What was they talking about? Oh, they was calling the utility company. Do you have that phone call? Can we hear that recording?
Dang.
Oh, your representative was rude. Oh, we're suing. So it's deep. It is deep. And so I just wanted to really put this knowledge, this information out there to the public to say, we have to look beyond, the surface. we're at a point where we really, if we're going to be better as a society, it starts with us. And we have to be informed and educated. And the average person calling in the customer service don't even know that their rights may be being violated. And those companies also have to be accountable for making sure that they train people and they stress to them the significance and importance of treating people respectfully, with dignity and kindness, because you don't want to be the reason why someone takes their life.
Wow.
Yeah. I know that's deep, y'all, but I had to say that and you know, in full transparency, because that's what we do here at the Pretty Purposeful Podcast. There have been times I've been on a phone call discussing serious situations, and I have been so frustrated with the person on the phone that I had considered harming myself, because the situation that I was dealing with was already significant and that person was not helping. So if I could experience it, I know other people are experiencing it too. And that's just putting it out there. Yep. Wow. So yeah, we owe it to ourselves to be, you know, intentional about caring for our fellow mankind, because we need each other. We need each other in every industry. We do. And that's all I have as far as the psychological toll, y'all. That's deep, right?
It is very deep.
I would be interested to know, you know, Purposeful Family, those of you who are out here listening, if you're comfortable with sharing, let us know in the comments if you yourself have dealt with depression, dealt with anxiety, and have contacted a customer service and have been, you know, your level of emotional distress has been exacerbated because of the service that you were receiving. Let us know. I'll be interested to see how many people have had that experience. Yep. All right. I know that. Oh, that's deep. How do we segue?
Girl, a moment of silence.
Prayer up in here, Lord. No, we definitely have the ability to make a change, and we are, you know, just by having this conversation.
Right.
Just like this conversation.
That's right.
And I just have to add, it's so important to be kind to yourself, kind to others, and going back to being kind to yourself. I feel that, you know, Candace told me before, like, Alexis, I don't think you give yourself enough credit. I've heard other people tell me that. You know, it's been times where customer service, working in this position can, you know, put a toll on your mental health so much. I have called Candace like probably 3 times crying because of, you know, just simply trying to help a customer. And they, you know, you may say I took it way too personal, maybe, but it becomes, you know, just very stressful. That's why, going back to the advice that I said earlier, take those deep breaths. You know, like Angee mentioned earlier, take that PTO. Use your PTO if you haven't used it. Because, you know, there's days where I'm like, I do not feel like clocking in today. Only because I know how it can, you know, it's just, it can put my mind in just oh my goodness. So going back to
the good ones, you wanted that, you know, exceptional.
The
model CSR that we want others to, you know, to actually, you know, model your behavior, like the way that you handle calls. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but I'm glad that we had this conversation so we can keep both sides.
That's right. That's right.
This is awesome.
And I'll keep doing my part as a manager to, you know, coach and develop and try to stress the importance of my team taking care of their mental health so that they can show up and be the person that I know that they can be. And I know that they want to be. But if they're not taking care of their mental health, then yeah, they're going to be burnt out. Yeah, they're going to be talking crazy to people. Yeah, they're going to be hanging up on people. Not saying anybody is, but you know, these things happen.
These things happen.
Yeah, I hope nobody. No, but this has been a really great episode, y'all. Don't mind me over here. My little fan has died, so I'm over here manually fanning myself. But we're gonna go ahead and close out this episode. Really quickly, just want to recap. You know, again, we really wanted to just emphasize the importance of having empathy. If you work in the service industry, whether you're on the phone, in person, and just in general, you know, just be kind. We are definitely living in days and times where people are just, a lot of emotions are running high, lots going on in the world. And so we just have to be very mindful of our brothers and sisters in the world. Let's see. If you yourself work in customer service, call to action and challenge you is to start focusing on ways that you can set an intention for yourself each day to not allow the customer on the phone, you know, penetrate your spirit. Okay. And if you are a customer calling into customer service, you know, this is your call to action to just be mindful that that customer service representative on the other line is a human being who's just doing a job, you know, and don't be using those kind words. Like, don't use those type of kind words. Like, if you don't got nothing really kind to say, don't say nothing at all. But yeah.
Okay. So we are now going to take some time to allow our special guests to participate in our Purpose Pulse. It is Purpose Pulse time. Cue the music. All right. So with this segment, we allow our guests to actually answer one special question. And it's going to be in regards to what purpose means to him or her. So Alexis, our question for you is, if purpose was an animal, what animal would it be and why?
I would say that would be a lion. A lion. I say a lion because I view a lion as a leader. And a leader has some type of purpose. They are eager to get something done. Whether that's helping people, you know, just act of service with a passion to do it. Yeah, it would be a lion.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. Girl, lions are courageous and fierce and bold. And yes, I love that. And Candace, did you have any closing remarks or any comments you wanted to make before we close out?
Oh, this has been like a really great episode. I just want to again thank Alexis for joining the platform. I think
I'm back, Alexis.
I know, like this is I really do think a lot of people can relate to a lot of stuff that we've said in this episode. And like it was mentioned, hurt people, and heal people. Happy people become, you know, cause other people to become happy. It's contagious either way. So we just have to keep that in mind. I also want to invite you all, okay, the Purposeful family, that if you are interested in becoming a guest, we would love to have you on the platform. I don't care if you want to, you know, if you feel like you've experienced something that you want to share that you think could help other people. If you are an expert, a subject matter expert that you would like to share your knowledge on, we would love to have you on the platform. So if you are interested in becoming a guest, go to www.prettypurposefulpodcast.com and complete the guest registration form.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much again, Alexis, for joining us. We really enjoyed you and appreciate your contribution to this conversation.
It seemed as if, you know, I was talking more about the irate customers and, but there are some customers or clients who would call in just to simply leave a compliment. I could have a bad call before, I just received your call, so I want to say thank you to those who leave compliments as well. So I just want to share that, and it's, this was an awesome experience, so I want to thank Angee and Candace for inviting me as well. And yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you shared that. I'm glad you added that. That's a great call to action. Look at Alexis giving call to action to the purposeful community. You better. Yes, thank you so much. All right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Before we get out of here, as always, it's okay to be pretty,
but even better to be pretty purposeful.
Bye.